Okay, Doctor, welcome once again to Bible Study with Nelson.
Thank you.
Imagine a loved one suffering in the hospital, been surviving with the help of machines. You have been spending money, and all of a sudden the loved one calls you that, please help me, just let me die, allow me go. That is called what in psychology?
Not psychology, but the ethics.
Okay.
We call it euthanasia
Okay.
or mercy killing.
Wow. Now, according to the Dr. Egyegini, he said in Ephes, it's called mercy killing or euthanasia. Now, we want to compare what is the view of God when it comes to mercy killing. The Bible said, thou shalt not kill, but you are seeing your loved one suffering. He is in pain, she is in pain, and he's even pleading that you should help him or her just die. What will you do? What should you do as a Christian? What should you do as a human who fears God and want to keep God's commandments? Welcome to Bible Study with Nelson. This is a channel where we learn about God's words. And today we'll be diving deep to understand what mercy killing truly is and how, as Christians today, we can either practice it or not practice it. And in the studio today, we have with us Dr. Emmanuel Egyegini. He is a lecturer with the School of Bible Studies in Jos, which is in affiliation with the University of Jos. Now, he's not just a doctor by name. He studied hard to get to where he is today. He's a psychologist. He has been teaching logic, philosophy, ethics for at least going to a decade or more than a decade now.
2 decades.
More than 2 decades. So he has load of experiences when it comes to issues like this. But Doc, before we continue, what is mercy killing?
Well, it's okay. In a simple term, we use the word mercy killing. Actually, it is actually from the word euthanasia. And that euthanasia is from the Greek word, actually, 2 Greek words, thanatos.
Okay.
And thanatos are talking about good death. But then what's give it that time good death? So, and that what gave it good death is what now it is popularly known as mercy killing.
Okay.
And that the concept of euthanasia or mercy killing simply means allowing the dying patient die. In other words, hastening the death of the dying patient so as to alleviate pain.
Okay.
So you are hastening the death, you are allowing the person die because of excruciating pain the person is going through. Now in Europe, and out of human reasoning, thinking, people philosophize over the years and say, well, the person that is called the dying patient simply means he or she is suffering from what we call terminal illnesses, and that the person is still going to die. The kind of the condition, the kind of sickness. Then we talk about terminal illnesses that will bring you to your terminus, to your end of your life. We talk about HIV. Then we're talking about cancer. We're talking about, of recent, we're talking about Ebola, COVID-19 virus, and all kinds of things like that. In human reasoning, they say, well, leaving this person, it has the cancer of the heart or cancer of the brain or cancer of whatever, and the person is going to die. So why allowing the person to go through excruciating pain and in the end, he's still going to die medically, proving that the person is having a terminal illness? So in Europe, the concept started from Europe. It's not about Africa thing, but somehow the thing is here with us.
It is accepted today, like widely accepted.
Yeah, it's with us today. So, and their own reason of allowing the dying, patient die, I'm explaining what is mercy killing. So, and they are saying that yes, mercy killing, the person is suffering from terminal illness, and in any way he or she is going to die. Why don't you hasten his death? By withdrawing the treatment, medication. If it's on life machine or whatever, you withdraw treatment, the person dies. And some, they will even go beyond withdrawing treatment by giving poisonous injection and hasten the death of the person for economic reason, economic burden, for the trauma that the guardians, the caretakers are going through.
Okay.
Then the major reason is to save the person from excruciating pain. So that is the concept of mercy killing, and which we can now deliberate on it, whether biblically is okay or not. So that is mercy killing.
Okay, from what you said,
yeah,
I want to conclude that there is what they call active euthanasia.
Yes.
Where you help the person die.
Yes.
Then passive euthanasia,
Yes.
where you just withdraw the treatment and allow the person die on
yes.
his own.
Yes, of course, that is a concept. There's what we call passive euthanasia. passive mercy killing, you withdraw treatment and then the person die. And then we have the active one where you inject, poison or whatever. But this, let me also say this, all of them are mercy killing.
Okay.
Mercy killing, part of this, whether active or passive. In Europe, for example, I'm talking about consent in Europe. Before now, somebody will sign what we call mercy killing bill,
Okay.
or the euthanasia bill. Just like you have a will, you will and say, after my death, this should be given to people. So you will, you write, and that certificate will be given. You file it. And the person will say that in any case, when I have become incapacitated, I, with my rights, senses, consciousness, willingly admit that euthanasia should be applied.
Wow. Okay.
So in Europe, there is that euthanasia bill, people practice it, and then the person has already signed that if in case in his life journey, and he or she becomes incapacitated, is medically proven that he is suffering from a terminal illness and he cannot do anything for himself and he's going to die, he agrees that euthanasia should be applied. Then there's also these other ones that if there's nothing like that, then the care giver, people taking care, must sign. Then whether the active one or the passive one can be applied.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that is the concept of mercy killing.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Mm.
This will take us to, because it's becoming more complicated.
Yeah.
Now, is allowing a person die the
Mm.
same as causing the death of the person?
Now, I breathe because in my class of contemporary ethics,
Okay.
In my class of contemporary ethics with master's students, we discussed that even on the undergraduate, when they start contemporary ethics, and these are some of the issues, when you x-ray the concept of euthanasia, mercy killing, from the religious, point of view, then we'll battle with the issue of allowing the person die. Is it the same thing as causing his death? Now, if you argue from the religious point of view and not from the philosophical point of view or just ethical point of view, we're talking about philosophy, reason, people do that. You do not cause his death because he is suffering from a terminal illness. He's going to die anyway. You only facilitate the death out of the love you have for him to save him from going through excruciating pain.
Okay.
Now, that is what people will say. They say, why you not cause his death? But if you argue from the religious point of view, whether Islamic point of view or the Christian point of view, you will be guilty of causing the person's death.
Okay.
Because why should you have a hand in hastening the death of the person? Even if he or she is going to die, why don't you allow the nature to take its course? So if you argue from the religious point of view, people will say, yes, he or she is suffering from a terminal illness, but you facilitated the death. Hence, you caused his death.
Okay.
So it depends on the angle that the person will argue from. So that is what I will say on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the doctor just said there are two different views. Either you argue from the religious aspect or you argue from the philosophical aspect. But putting this aside, we don't want to dive into those aspects yet.
Yes, okay.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Putting this aside, what line is between allowing nature take its course and helping someone, taking the life of someone? What line is in between?
There's a thin line.
Okay.
There's a thin line between allowing the nature take its course in the context of mercy killing.
Okay.
And hastening the death of the person. That is practicing mercy killing, euthanasia. Now, if you allow the nature take its course, that means you've not practiced mercy killing.
Okay.
The concept of euthanasia is not applied. Yet the person is suffering from terminal illness, medically proven, and you have been told, and allowing nature take its course means you will be hoping and allow the person die at the time that God will allow the person die. So you have no hand in it.
Okay.
You see, but then the thin line is that if you, by giving approval for withdrawal of medication, or the person is on life machine, you say approve. You see, you are practicing now mercy killing, or you involve in active mercy killing, whereby they will inject poison to the person and the person die. So the thin line between allowing nature to take its course and actually actively involved in the act of mercy killing is on what you do. Either you choose to say, well, we will be hoping and be praying and let the person die in a natural way, or you take part in it. So
Okay.
that is just a thin line. Because if the person is going to die anyway, we all know it's going to die. But then what you do is the thin line. Do you hasten the death, or you continue to endure the financial burden, the trauma both of you will go through until the person dies?
Okay. Okay. I would not want to dive to this, but I want us to move into the biblical view
Yes.
of life.
Good.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 said, we were made in the image of God.
Yes.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39,
Yes.
said God gave life. That God gave life.
Yes.
So if God has given life, now
Yes.
looking from the religious aspect,
Yes.
the biblical aspect of it, who am I to take that life via mercy killing? Because medically, it is believed all over the world that the medical doctors, they only just prescribe, they treat, and they don't have the power to heal. So there is a superior being,
Yes,
who he is. So if they say the person will die, will the person really die because they've said he will die when God has not said the person will die?
Yeah, and that is the argument against mercy killing.
Okay.
In the class, we talk about the argument against mercy killing is that mercy killings rules out the possibility of miracle. Mercy killings denies God's ability. So those are the arguments against mercy killing. So if you know that life is in God's hand, sickness that human being may say it is terminal, God's ability is above man. God can save even beyond man's imagination. And we have research has proven, cases where medically it has been certified that this person will die because of this sickness. And then God's ability, God's, help, and the person will not die. And then prove that. So, for the fact that it's medically proven that the person will die does not 100% absolutely means that the person will die as it is medically said.
Okay.
Because God's ability above man. And where people talk about the concept of miracle, God can still save regardless of the condition. Now, let me go back to the first one, which you talk about, taking life. For sure, logically, ethically speaking, no man has right. That is one of the arguments against mercy killing too. Nobody has right to take a life or destroy what he or she did not build. You can only, destroy what you built or what you create. But what you did not create, why will you destroy it? Why will you kill it? Regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the challenges, what medically I've seen that the person is going to die. In fact, that should not be fear anyway, from the religious point of view. So the argument against mercy killing is that, look, you did not create life, therefore do not take life. Let the person that create life take it at the time he chooses to take it, regardless of the health issues or the challenge that the person is passing through. So I think that is what I would say about it. It is true, God create life. Nobody create life. But if, as I say, the concept of mercy killing argument is in two ways. If you argue from the religious, point of view, mercy killing, no, it's against mercy killing. But if you argue from the secular, from the philosophical point of view, in view of the happenings, the pains the person is going through, and we say, well, the person is still going to die anyway, so why don't you apply mercy killing? Withdraw medication, treatment, or active euthanasia, inject poison, and the person die. So no. So the argument from the secular point of view are proof of the practice of mercy killing. But if you argue from the religious point of view, you say no, life is sacred. It's sacred because it is created by God, and only Him has right to take it. So, and the religious point of view will say no, do not have a hand in mercy killing or euthanasia.
Wow. Well, in case you don't know, as a philosopher, as a
psychologist,
and
ethicist,
and also as an ethicist, Dr. Egyegini is also a preacher of God's words with the Church of Christ in
University of Jos
campus. So at least he has so many experience when it comes to things like this. Thank you very much for that answer.
You're welcome.
But looking at extrolling the Bible,
yes,
you see God ending the suffering of people, not by taking their life,
yes,
but taking the challenges away.
Yes.
You see Christ also doing the same thing in the New Testament.
Yes.
But since we as humans don't have the power to take away that, and we decide to help this end that suffering by taking the life of the person, have we committed any sin?
Yeah, that is another argument. People will reason and feel that way. That suffering, of course, suffering is a painful thing. Nobody wants to go through pain, suffering. But then human must learn to understand that, yes, suffering in itself, totality, is not all evil. God allows certain things for His own reason. In John chapter 9, there was an account of a man born blind. Of course, nobody wished to be blind. Everybody wished to see. His parents, they have tried all to see. And they say he was born blind like that. And the disciples of Jesus Christ were thinking probably the parent have committed sin or have done something wrong, or the man himself. And Jesus said that it's none of this. It is for the glory of God. So at times, suffering, you may be going through what we may call suffering today in terms of health. It may be based on the glory of God. That either you will be used as a living testimony to encourage others. Your faith, you'd not waver in your faith because of sickness. It could be a lesson for others, or it could be for yourself. And in the book of Job himself passed through a lot of things, to the extent that the wife was asking him, kill yourself, end your life. In fact, curse God and die. In other words, we could say, the wife of Job would say, practice euthanasia on yourself. Curse God and then die. But Job said, no. Woman, why can we receive good from God and we can't receive bad? If everything comes from God, good or bad, if good comes, we receive it. If bad comes, we receive it. So, taking away suffering with the aim of taking life to alleviate pain, no. From the biblical point of view, from religious point of view, we say no. Man should not, and we should not have a hand in it. And that is the stand of God.
Okay. What if you are pleaded with?
Yes.
Your loved one, let me say your father is on the sick bed. He's telling you, please don't continue spending money. Please allow me just go.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Okay, in my class of contemporary ethics, people raise those questions. In Africa, in Nigeria in particular, because of, let me use a word here. People are struggling to accept the unchangeable. We struggle with it. Accept the reality that there are certain things that you cannot change. You have to accept it. People struggle with it. And because our medical doctors know that we struggle with accepting the unchangeable from medical point of view, what they do, at times they will even on their own discharge you and say, just go home. And they will not even tell you that this one, they have seen that the possibility for you to make it is not there.
Not there.
And if they say so, people will not be happy. You yourself, you will not be happy. So they will say, just go home, or take your father home. And then we also have instances whereby the person is suffering, is in pain, and you have taken the person to this hospital and that hospital, and there's no healing. And then the person is begging, just take me home. The person has already given up. So if you do, are you guilty of mercy killing? That is a question.
That's the question, yeah.
That's a question. The answer is no. We should not be too hasty to conclude and say the person is
Okay.
mercy killing. So the person now, the person has been going round seeking for help, medication, go to hospital, from one hospital to another. And the old man and the old woman say, no need again. Just carry me home and let's depend on God and God's time. So it is, if you do that out of the confidence that, yes, we've done all we could, humanly speaking. And the person is saying, let's leave it unto God. Just take me home. Let's depend on God. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Rather, you should see from the perspective of having trust and confidence in God. Leave everything into God's hand. Because you have done all you could. So that is, we cannot say it's mercy killing. And you cannot be charged of, guilty of mercy killing. But when you are talking about mercy killing, is that when the person say, allow me die, medically you are withdrawing treatment, there is medication, and there is the person is going through it, although he or she is going to die, but the person is responding to treatment. But because of the pain, you willingly now sign that let's withdraw the treatment, even when the person is responding to treatment. That is mercy killing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. From what you have said so far, it's like it's a passage of the Bible that said faith without works
is dead.
is dead.
Yes.
Now, taking the person from the hospital to the house, that you have faith in God, you are not working again because the person will not be receiving medication.
Yes.
So can that not be seen as a passive euthanasia?
Well, yeah, that can be seen as passive euthanasia in a way that it depends on how you see it. If you see that you're actually withdrawing yourself from treatment, the place of faith, I'll talk about it. I'll answer that.
Okay.
I've earlier said that a person is responding to treatment and you want to take the person home. You are withdrawing. That is passive euthanasia.
Okay.
I've answered that one.
Okay.
But the person is not, they have tried all. The person is not responding to treatment. And they have done all they could. No improvement. And the person say, well, there's no improvement. Just take me home. Let's depend on God. That is also faith. Taking the person home and continue. Of course, you keep on trying other things. Till the person dies, let nature take its course. You are not withdrawing treatment. In fact, some, as I say, in Africa, in Nigeria, I know instances of, from the, medical experts, they will just say, discharge. They will just say, just go home. And they will give you some time to come back. At least before that time, the person has died. So that happens too.
Okay. We've actually understood what euthanasia, mercy killing is, and what is the biblical stand on that. And our doctor also spoke about the psychological stand on that, the philosophical stand on that. When it comes to ethics, what does those who believe in this, what do they say? But before we go,
yes,
what would be your advice to those people who are faced with these challenges now?
Yeah, that is good question. On this, in life, you go through challenges.
Okay.
Sicknesses could be there, and people many a time lose hope because of the situation, because of the nature of the sicknesses they pass through. But the word of God encourages us not to lose hope. That sicknesses in itself is not the end of life. One should have hope, have faith in God, that God knows why I'm passing through this. Yes, sickness is just a means, it's just a medium. And it's not the end of life itself. It may lead to the end of life, it might not. So if you are passing through any kind of illness, that even if it's medically proven that it's going to take, or you're going to end your life, trust in God, have hope in Him, that every human life will come to an end one day, whether through sickness or not. But die with a peace of mind. Even if it's going to take your life, die with a peace of mind. Still having faith in God and trusting no matter what happens. Paul said, when Paul prayed to God in 2 Corinthians, he prayed 3 times. He has a thorn in the flesh. Our own time, we can use it terminal. And he said, God, please. Paul did not specifically tell us what is that thorn, but he qualified his own sickness as like a thorn. It's piercing, he's in pain, excruciating pain. He said a thorn. If you put a thorn, if there's thorn in your flesh, you see how painful, how excruciating it is, the pain. And he said he prayed to God 3 times, take it away. But God said, no, my grace is sufficient for you. So that is my words of encouragement. That regardless of whatever sickness you are passing through, have faith in God. God's grace is sufficient for you. Meaning, God will sustain you. He will carry you through to the end. Because what will be fear is eternal death, not just sickness. Because everyone will leave this planet Earth. This body will be decay one day. I usually refer to it as carton. It's going to be decay. But God's grace will carry us through. That's what I would say. My advice.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor.
You're
You
welcome.
have said a lot about mercy killing. But before we go, do you have any final words for our viewer?
Yes, for our viewers, on regarding this concept of mercy killing, my strong advice is that let's go back to the Bible. In other words, biblical principles. Yeah, medically it's approved worldwide. People practice that, but we are saying that from the biblical point of view, regarding sickness and death, we are saying as a Christian, as a child of God, do not have a hand. Do not involve actively in hastening the death of someone simply because it is said that the person is going to die. What if if it's allowed and the person did not die? So you will be left with guilt. Guilty, conscience. The guilt will torment you. So do not have a hand, depend on God, and let nature take its course. Do whatever you need to do. Believe God that He will take care. That is my advice for the viewer. That mercy killing, we've not seen that in the Bible. As Christians, of course, I'm talking about Christians. In the Old Testament, you may see an example that it may sound like mercy killing, but in the New Testament, we're talking about Christianity. Our faith in Christ is the key. And God will do what He plans to do regarding each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Our viewer, we want to appreciate you for staying with us to this very time. The conclusion of the matter is mercy killing is not biblical. Even though it is done, even though it is approved, it has been legalized by some countries, by some nations. But when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to the Bible, it is nowhere found in the New Testament.
Yeah.
And we are encouraging you not to get involved. Give God the chance to do His work. This is Bible Study with Nelson. If you have learned from this episode, please do well to press the subscribe button, like this video, and please share with someone who is passing through challenges. Drop your questions. Our doctor is always around, always available.